If you're learning Arabic, you have definitely run into this problem. You're feeling good about a three-letter verb in the past tense, but then you see it in the present tense and, wait, what happened? That vowel on the middle letter just seems to change for no reason at all. It can feel so random and frustrating, but what if I told you it's not random at all? There's a hidden system, and today, we're going to crack the code together. So this is the big question, right? Why on earth does that middle vowel seem to have a mind of its own when you switch from past to present? It's the kind of thing that makes you want to pull your hair out. But trust me, you're not just imagining things. There's a reason it feels unpredictable, but we're about to make it totally predictable. Let's look at a classic example here. The verb to enter. In the past, it's dakhala. See that ah sound, that fatha, right in the middle? Simple enough. But then in the present, it becomes yadkhulu. That ah has completely flipped to an u sound, a dhamma. How are you supposed to know that was going to happen? It seems impossible. Well, here's the good news. It's not random, not even a little bit. There is a key to unlock this whole thing. See, the classical Arab linguists figured this out centuries ago and organized it all into a really clever system. And once you get it, you'll be able to correctly predict the vowel for thousands of verbs. So to see how, we've got to first understand the full scope of the puzzle. Okay, so first up, the puzzle itself. Before we can appreciate the solution, we need to see just how messy it could be. Let's think about it logically. How many different combinations of these middle vowels could possibly exist between the past and present tenses? Let's break it down. The building blocks are actually super simple. For that middle root letter, you've only got 3 options for the vowel in the past tense: A, I, or U. And guess what? It's the exact same 3 options for the present tense. Easy enough, right? But the real complexity, as you're about to see, comes from how they can mix and match. So if you do the math, 3 past tense options times 3 present tense options, you get 9 theoretical combinations. This table right here, this is the chaos. This is why it feels so confusing as a student. A verb starting with an A in the past could, in theory, switch to an A, an I, or a U in the present. It's no wonder it feels like a total guessing game. But here is where it all gets so much better. The language doesn't actually use all 9 of those possibilities. The linguists who mapped out Arabic grammar realized that native speakers weren't using all of them. They naturally gravitated toward a much smaller, way more manageable set of patterns, bringing the puzzle from 9 down to 6. Just 6, that's it. Let that sink in. Out of all those 9 logical possibilities, only 6 are actually used in the Arabic language for these types of verbs. This one number changes everything. We've just cut down the problem by a third. So these 6 patterns are the bedrock of the whole system. They're known as the Abwab, which literally means gates or chapters. I like to think of them as 6 big families of verbs. And if you know which family a verb belongs to, you automatically know its vowel pattern. Suddenly, the puzzle is solved. Now, you might be wondering, and it's a great question, if 9 combinations were possible, why did the language just settle on 6? I mean, what happened to the other 3? And the answer tells you so much about how languages really work. You see, the thing about Arabic is that it's a Sama'i language. That means its rules are based on listening to how people actually spoke. It's descriptive, not prescriptive. So over time, some combinations just felt clumsy or difficult to say, and they fell out of use. But even more important, the 6 patterns that stuck around became a powerful tool to create different shades of meaning from the very same root letters. Check this out. This is a perfect example. Same 3 root letters, Hasan, Ba, but just by changing that vowel pattern, you get 2 totally different words. Hasiba, with the I vowel, means to think. But hasaba, with the A vowel, means to count. The bab, the chapter it belongs to, is what creates that distinction. This is what makes the system so powerful and, honestly, so cool. All right, so it's time to actually meet these 6 families. To make them super easy to remember, each bab is named after a common everyday verb that perfectly follows its vowel pattern. Think of these as your 6 model verbs. They are going to be your new best friends, I promise. And here they are. This table right here is the master key to the whole system. You've got Bab Nasara with an IU pattern. Bab Daraba, AI. Fatha is AA. Then Samya is IA. Hasiba is II. And finally, Karuma is UU. You'll notice the missing ones, IU, UA, and UI, they're just not used. If you can commit these 6 model verbs and their patterns to memory, you have mastered this concept. It's that simple. Okay, so this is all great in theory, but how do you actually use it when you come across a new verb in the wild? Well, this is where we go from theory to practice, and where this system becomes your secret weapon, especially when you're using an Arabic dictionary. See, the people who wrote these dictionaries, they knew all about this system. So to save space and make things efficient, instead of writing out, "This verb is from Bab Nasara," they would just put a tiny little letter noon next to the verb, a dad for Bab Daraba, a fa for Bab Fataha, and so on. It's a fantastic little shorthand. Let's walk through exactly how this works. Say you look up the verb khalaqa, which means to overcome. In the dictionary, right next to it, you see the letter dad. That's it. That's the light bulb moment. Because you know that stands for Bab Daraba, and you've memorized that the pattern for Daraba is a e. So you just apply that rule, and you know with 100% certainty that the present tense has to be yaghlibu. No more guessing. You just solved it. And there you have it. What started out as this random, really frustrating puzzle is actually a logical, predictable, and, dare I say, beautiful system. By understanding these 6 gates, these 6 abwab, you've gone from guessing to knowing. So the real question now is, how many hundreds or even thousands of verbs did this one little concept just unlock for you?